The ACR74T is a 4-axis integrated stepper drive with ACR controller. Each axis can be up to 4 amps. The controller takes 24 volts and has separate control power and motor power inputs. There's 20 discrete inputs, there's 12 standard inputs, and then there's 8 high-speed trigger inputs. If you're not using those as high-speed inputs, you can also use those as general purpose inputs. There's 8 outputs, and those are on the top standard 26 pin high density female D sub connectors on the top, right next to the Ethernet port that supports standard Ethernet TCP IP, as well as has the ability to be an Ethernet IP scanner or node. You can think of the ACR74T as an ACR9000 with 4 EDC drives all in one package, much smaller. It's 40 times faster code execution and 8 times faster communications. There's no interconnect cables to connect between the controller and the drive, and this saves you about 40% in terms of cost, and also makes a more reliable solution with less cabling. For lab and medical applications, a lot of times the controller is actually on the machine itself, and this will save you a lot of space on your machine with such a small footprint. In a cabinet, it'd save you quite a bit of space between the 4 drives and the controller. It has crimp connectors for both the motor connectors and the encoder. It uses the latest generation high current FETs, which is how we got such a small footprint. It's the latest technology, makes your machine last longer. The encoder inputs are included for higher accuracy. They're optional. You can use the stepper motors in open loop or closed loop. You can use the encoder for stall detection, or you can enable position maintenance. The eCLM series stepper motors are our latest offering in stepper motors. The eCLM series are a high torque stepper motor with an encoder built into the back of the motor. They're pre-engineered to save mounting an encoder in the field and has standard cables, plug and play with the ACR7000 Stepper. They have windings to give good speed at 24 volts and available in 5 frame sizes: NEMA 8, 11, 17, 23, and a metric 60 millimeter. There's 2 versions of the eCLM, the P version and the S version. Use the P version. The encoder has a reference mark. The S version encoder does not have a reference mark. We have standard extension cables for the eCLM series motors for both the motor cable and the encoder cable. These offer plug and play right into the 7000 stepper. We offer them in 1 meter, 3 meter, 5 meter, and 10 meter lengths. And you can see the part numbers here: CSVO-E for the encoder, -M for the motor cables, and then the length in meters as 3 digits, and then F on the end. The LV series stepper motors are also a good choice. They're a low voltage, high torque stepper motor. There's not a standard encoder option for these, so if you need an encoder, use the eCLM. They're available in 5 frame sizes: NEMA 8, 11, 17, 23, and 34 frame. They're available with flying leads, which is 18-inch long wires, or -10, which is a 10-foot cable option. The ACR7000 Stepper uses standard Tyco crimp connectors for the motor connection, and these would need to be added for the LV series motors. Those connectors are listed in the 7000 Stepper manual and Parker Motion Manager's help file, and are very easy to source. Great things about these connectors is that you have less to worry about than screw terminals. Screw terminals aren't as reliable, as wires can come loose. and you don't really want 4 amps of current on a loose wire. It could damage both the drive and the motor.